In 2016's The Great Wall, Matt Damon is a mercenary archer who travels to China to steal gunpowder, but runs into something a bit different instead. The Great Wall, where he must join forces with its protectors to defeat alien monsters before they can make their way through to devour the capital.
What the hell is going on in China?
And more than anything else, this movie personifies what was a very dark age in modern Hollywood. A mid-2010s age that is best defined with just one word.
China.
This was the time when Western movies did everything they could to gain access to Eastern money. Movies like Transformers 4 that went to China for no other reason than to pander to Chinese audiences as well as their governmental overlords.
We gotta call the central government for help.
And The Great Wall is the ultimate culmination of that. A Hollywood blockbuster with Western stars set in the Eastern world, directed by a famous Chinese filmmaker. Which in and of itself is not a bad thing. International projects today are very much in demand. Shogun, for example, is fantastic and I can't wait to see more. But The Great Wall is not like that. It does have some good stuff from the visuals to the battle choreography, but it does not work as a whole. It's okay at its best and absolutely embarrassing at its worst. Why? Because it makes all the worst mistakes that an international project combining different worlds can make. Characters are not treated as individuals, but as shallow members of their group. The heroes are not given active agency, but reduced into backseat passengers there to watch the opposite side. And the movie as a whole is full of stereotypes ranging from predictable to absolute cringe that no actor on the planet can make work.
Look at this army. Have you ever seen anything like this? Incredible.
And so today, since international projects have made a return through streaming, let's go back to this dark Hollywood age to learn from it. What was it about The Great Wall that went so horribly wrong that it ended the industry's Chinese obsession? When making an international project combining different worlds, here's what to avoid. The first international issue here is that the characters are not treated as realistic individuals, but as shallow parts of the group they belong to. In the beginning, Matt Damon and his pack of mercenaries are searching for black powder in the east, which is not going too well. Most of their men have died at the hands of barbarians hunting them, and the few who remain are now eaten by some monster hidden by terrible camera work. After which, Matt Damon and his best pal Pedro Pascal arrive at the Great Wall of China, where they get taken prisoner. And on the surface, there is a lot of stuff here. Matt Damon is looking for legendary gunpowder, which does not yet exist in the West. Matt Damon is an expert marksman who could compete with Hawkeye for the job in the Avengers. The Chinese are fighting alien monsters in the most visually stunning ways to not let them through the wall. But the issue with all of that is that none of it is individual, none of it is a real thing you could really get into. It's all general, based on affiliation. Why does Matt Damon need gunpowder? What problem is he gonna solve back home with a stolen bag of explosives? Is it for something specific, or does he aim to replicate the formula somehow for some reason? I don't know. He just wants the gunpowder like every other Western character because that's what they want.
Black powder kills a dozen men at one time.
Came looking for black powder.
I came with mercenaries for the same thing.
With this black powder in our saddlebags, we win.
How is Matt Damon so good with a bow and arrow? I don't know. There was no introductory scene for only him to establish him and his abilities. He was always shown as part of his group. He just is an expert Western fighter, the same way Pedro Pascal is also an expert Western fighter, because that's what they are. What is there to differentiate all the Chinese characters? Well, not much. They don't really get proper individual scenes to paint them as individuals. We just kinda meet them as part of this large machine protecting the wall, which appears to be their only reason of existence. The only way we can even tell them apart is because they wear different colors based on what regiment they lead, or because they are the female lead.
Blue.
They're all women.
The lesson to take here is that when you bring different cultural groups together, being a member of that group is not enough to build or define a character. Once the aliens attack for the first time, Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal escape their bonds and kill a couple of them in a pretty cool way. After which, all the Chinese stand up to applaud them for their heroic deed. And it's like, wait a minute, why are they getting special applause for killing two monsters when the Chinese were killing them by the thousands? Well, because they are Western foreigners. That's what primarily sets them apart here. And it just isn't enough for anyone to care. Things have to be done on an individual level. For example, maybe Matt Damon could have saved some general's son as he was killing the monsters. That's what made it special. That's why he gets applauded here. That could create a personal rivalry with the son because he feels anger and shame over being saved. That's something we could learn about the son as a person. That all his life he has prepared to give his life for the wall, and now he was denied that by an outsider, no less. That would be individual. That would be something to take interest in. Being applauded for being a member of another group is not. Overall, bringing different groups together can be great. Exploring the cultural differences between those groups can be great. But it cannot stay at group level. You need to dive into why this person wants to steal gunpowder, why that person is so determined to protect the wall. It can't be just because they're part of this group and that's what this group does. If it's not individual, nobody cares. The second international problem here is that main characters are often reduced to boring passengers waiting around for the other side to do stuff.
What is going on in China?
For example, once Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal are taken prisoner, the wall is attacked by the aliens and they get sat down in chains as the soldiers do their thing. And what does that mean in practice? What does the sequence entail for the heroes? Well, mostly sitting around and watching in awe how amazing the Chinese are.
Black are the foot soldiers. The red?
Those are the archers. They're all women.
What the hell do they do?
You ever seen anything like this?
Incredible.
This is the biggest tell for when a movie is pandering to one group, when the heroes literally become backseat passengers driven forward and dictated by the opposite side. Like, this is Transformers level, Chinese characters showing up to take the reins of the movie.
Hurry, come. Okay, yes, I'll follow you anywhere. You're amazing.
And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing on its own. The movie is called The Great Wall, so of course there should be sequences where we can marvel at how amazing the Chinese military is at protecting the wall. That's the point of bringing different groups together, to see how the other side does what it does. But at the same time, no matter which group your lead characters belong to, you must maintain their agency and motivation at all times. There cannot be times when they sit back and let the other side do its thing because it's very obvious what you're doing.
Look at this army.
Incredible.
You ever seen anything like this?
In other words, always keep personal agency at the forefront as the thing that drives the story. Instead of Matt Damon taking a break to look in awe as the wall is attacked, he should be actively progressing his own path. Maybe that means looking for a way to break free, or maybe it means manipulating a soldier throughout the sequence to set him free. But he can't just sit around as a member of the audience until stuff eventually happens and someone else shows up to free him. Instead of Matt Damon going out with the captain to check out the defense mechanism just because now it's time for world building,
Here you are.
he should have a reason for it. Maybe he's trying to learn the mechanism because he plans to use it to escape down the wall later, or maybe he's fishing for clues about the gunpowder's location from the captain. But the world building cannot take over him. The scene cannot happen just because now the movie wants to give a lecture on a cool Eastern mechanism and culture and whatever.
信任 means trust. To have faith, we fight for more than food or money. We give our lives to something more.
All that can happen in the scene, but it can't be the reason for the scene. The scene has to be born from Matt Damon's and the captain's own needs to achieve something in it. Instead of Matt Damon joining the fight against the aliens just because fighting for China is the right thing to do,
They need us here.
there should be a reason for him to do it, a reason to care about him doing it. Like maybe he lost someone important to the aliens and wants revenge, or maybe he has something to protect back home which will be in danger unless he stops the aliens here. Anything except,
I shall now fight for the glory of China because that is a benefit to the entire world and the honorable thing to do.
And it's not just the western side, it's the eastern side as well. There seems to be nothing driving the characters except their built-in desire to protect China, because that's what one does here, I guess. Which is not enough. There needs to be more personal motivation and agency, personal reason for characters to do what they do in the scenes they appear in. Being Chinese can influence what characters do in a scene, but it can't be the reason for the scene. If a Chinese character explains the cultural backstory about the aliens to Matt Damon,
they come to remind us of what happens when greed is
he must have a purpose to do so. Because weirdly, this movie is divided into these chunks where characters take turns to do things just for the sake of doing them. Sometimes it's the Chinese defending their homeland for the sake of doing it while Matt Damon does nothing, and other times it's Matt Damon and Pedro Pascal doing stuff for the sake of doing it while the Chinese take the back seat. Whereas ideally, you want the main characters from both sides doing things constantly and at once, motivated by their own needs to progress the story. The scenes should be born from their conflicting motivations to achieve something in the scenes. Because as amazing as China and its military may be, watching them through the eyes of a stagnant Western hero is not compelling enough. The third international problem here is that a lot of the movie is built on stereotypes, which makes things predictable at best and cringy at worst. As I mentioned, the characters are exactly as you'd expect them to be and nothing more. All Westerners are scoundrels looking to steal a Chinese invention for their own gain.
Know what you are. A thief,
Liar.
and a killer.
While all Easterners are loyal parts of a perfected system existing solely to serve that system, no matter how counterintuitive it may be.
是就地研究。
饕餮若能活捉，皇上必须先睹。下官特地为此事而来。
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay.
And as much as stereotypes like these might have basis in reality, on their own they become super dull to watch because it always feels like you're steps ahead. Oh wow, the Western crook learns the value in the honorable ways of the East and jumps over to fight for them.
We've been fighting for nothing.
Who would have guessed? Oh wow, the most fearful and clumsy Eastern soldier ultimately stands up tall to bravely protect the mainland with his life. Who would have guessed? Well, everyone guessed. And to be fair, you shouldn't necessarily turn a blind eye to the truth behind stereotypes. You can have dishonorable Western mercenaries and you can have righteous Eastern soldiers. There is reality in that. But if you do use stereotypes like these,
信任 is our flag.
you have to dive in to explore what makes them so. Instead of just saying that Matt Damon is a thieving Western killer because that's how it always is, you have to first show him being a thieving killer and then delve into the reasons why it is the case. What makes him the stereotypical Western crook that he is? What about the West has molded him into that?
After all the blood and cold and pain.
Instead of just having all Chinese characters be loyal parts of a machine because that's how it always is, go deeper into the reasons behind it, into what it is about this part of the world that has made them this way. And even with that, you still need to add variation. All Chinese characters cannot be the same, and more importantly, the reason they are the same cannot be because they're all Chinese. The stereotype itself is not enough to carry or justify how things are. You can't have characters from China save the day with kick-ass martial arts moves simply on the basis that they're from China. The point is that even though stereotypes can guide the way of characters and story, they cannot become boxes to tick. For For example, there's a scene after the first battle between Matt Damon and the captain where they talk about their past and how they like to do things. And on its own, it is a good scene to have, since when you have characters from different cultural paths, you want to highlight the differences and similarities in those paths. But the way it happens here is just strange. These are two people who just met, and already they're openly sharing their dark histories and traumas as if they mean nothing.
I was not 5 years old when I came here. I have no other family.
It's clunky and unemotional, and it does not work.
I was given to an army before I can remember. Packs of children. We clean the battlefields. After, when the fighting's over.
That's the lesson to take here. Whenever you let stereotypes guide the way you write, be sure to explore them in your own proper way and make them three-dimensional. Because if you don't, the result will be either predictable slop or pure cringe. Like, the way characters talk and behave in this movie is so on the nose and forced that it's about as subtle as nails on a chalkboard.
You've earned General Xiao's praise.
Will they come back?
Yes.
It's as if everybody's a robot saying only what they need to say based on where they're from, and that's it. And no actor on the planet can make it work.
In the West, we would be enemies and I would have to kill you. At least here we have a common goal.
How many flags do you fight for?
I fought for Harold against the Danes. I saved a duke's life. I fought for him until he...
They look nervous. It's a big wall to be so nervous.
We fight for more than food or money. We give our lives to something more.
Well, that's all well and good, but I'm not jumping. I'm alive today because I trust no one.
So hey, as bad as Hollywood can seem today, it could be worse. We could be stuck in a purgatory of only this. And in a weird way, we do owe the Great Wall our thanks for messing up so badly at this that the industry was forced to move on. Move on from
China.